On TV, on radio, and on your smartphone. This is TalkTV. Live from the News Building in London, this is the News Desk with Kate McCann.
Good evening, I'm Kate McCann, and after all the excitement from last night's leaders' debate, thank goodness I'm now sitting down. Coming up on the News Desk tonight. U-turn if you want to. Is Rishi Sunak's decision to scrap VAT on energy bills a sign of desperation or a welcome move by a politician willing to change his mind? We're not loving it. Say goodbye to a cheeseburger for under £1 as McDonald's becomes just the latest high street name to supersize their prices. Trouble on the trains. Another rail strike is announced for next month as more than 40,000 RMT workers across 14 train operators walked out today, causing commuter chaos. The most hated man on the internet. We speak to the woman behind a new Netflix series that documents her quest to take down a revenge porn kingpin. And head over back heels, the goal that made jaws drop across the nation. Now the Lionesses can sit back and see if it'll be France or Germany in Sunday's Wembley final. Thank you for joining us. So, to our top story tonight. Well, there was plenty of speculation in the run-up to last night's Sun Showdown debate about whether anyone would be the victim of a knockout blow. What no one predicted was it might well be the presenter. We'll come back to that in a moment. But first, let's have a look at the politics that came out of last night. Welcome to the Sun Showdown, fight for number 10. Let's make this a clean, fair fight. So, John Hughes, you're in Birmingham. John, what's your question for the candidates?
Why is the NHS broken? The Conservatives have had the chance already, and it's still not enough for the NHS.
You were the Chancellor, you know the numbers. We're spending more than ever before, and yet ambulances are queuing up outside NHS hospitals. Level with us. If the answer's not money, then what is it?
Well, the answer has got to be that we need to do things differently. And we need to do things differently so that people get better treatment quicker. So I think if we use all these different new innovations, which is part of my plan to tackle the backlog, and that's what this NHS and social care levy that I've put in place, which lots of people now say that they want to scrap, that's what it's funding.
But that's barely covering the cost right now, and you're talking about innovation. Liz Truss, you have said that you want to scrap the national insurance increase. So where will extra money come from for the NHS?
So I am committed to the extra money that was announced for the NHS. Whatever Rishi says now, we did not need to raise national insurance in order to pay. We did have that money available in the budget. It was a choice to break our manifesto commitment and raise national insurance.
Gemma, what's your question for the candidates?
I'm thinking, should we turn to vegetarian? And because we all love meat, but I'm not able to afford it as much as what I used to do.
I do think it is morally wrong at this moment when families are struggling to pay for their food that we have put up taxes on ordinary people when we said we wouldn't in our manifesto.
I think what's morally wrong is asking our children and grandchildren to pick up the tab for the bills that we're not prepared to meet. And I think it's entirely reasonable to ask the largest companies to pay a bit more.
I am not talking about cutting corporation tax. I'm talking about not raising corporation tax. And companies have a choice about whether they invest in the UK or whether they invest elsewhere. Rishi's policies are making us less competitive.
Do you actually have the guts to stand up to Putin this winter when he turns off all the gas pipes to Europe?
Part of us standing up to Putin is all of us as a country recognising what that's going to do to our energy bills and having the resolve to get through that, supporting people as we go.
The cost of not doing anything to stand up to Vladimir Putin is immense. If he succeeds in Ukraine, he's not going to stop there.
Let's turn to our panel now, and I'm joined by The Sun's Deputy Political Editor, Kate Ferguson, Deputy Editor of Conservative Home, Henry Hill, and former Number 10 Deputy Head of Policy, Will Tanner. Lovely to have you with me this evening. Kate Ferguson, let's start with you. What was your main takeaway from the debate last night?
Well, I think there's like plenty to get stuck into about last night's debate. But before we do that, Kate, I wondered how are you feeling today?
A little embarrassed, a little bit bruised, but glad to be back and totally fine.
Good to see you. Good to have you back, isn't it?
Yeah, not necessarily what any of us expected to happen last night, I don't think. And yeah, it was one of those moments that I think no one can really prepare for. And both, I think Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak were pretty shocked by it. So yeah.
It's the joy of live television.
Exactly.
Well, the joy and the peril of life.
Absolutely. You don't get that in the pre-packaged stuff.
Yeah, but good of both of them to agree to a rematch at some point. So hopefully we'll be able to tie down a date
Game
for
on.
that.
Yeah,
exactly. Game on. So yeah, it was really fascinating. But you're right, there was a lot of politics in that debate, even though it was cut short. What was the main thing that stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, one of the most interesting things about the debate were the questions from the Sun readers, from my perspective.